in the rink. It was the best, and that was it. That's all I remember. Because you're right, on a Tuesday night on Global, I don't remember them showing guys walking into the Gardens, back in the early 90s. It was basically hockey night, and it was Coach's Corner. That's when it started.
No, Don Cherry, being recognized by him was something special, and he did, I met him once or twice, and he was like, oh, Jason Stradwick, whatever. It was so cool to hear him. But in all my years, I got interviewed one time for Hockey Night in Canada, one time, and I got the towel. They take the towel, they put it over. I honestly, I think I loved that towel more than I loved anything, including my family. I had this towel.
Yeah.
So a friend of ours moved in this for a few months, and I had the towel kind of put away, but it was above the other towels. I come home one day, she's working out in my gym in the basement. I go down to say hi. There's the towel. She's wiping her greasy face off. I was just like,
that's outrageous.
You're out. You're out. Find a place to
that's
live.
A kick
You're out.
That's a hotel.
I lost it. She's like, I thought you had more. You thought I had more. Have you seen my stats? They don't interview the seventh defenseman every Saturday night like they do the top guy. I was losing it, so I washed it and folded it properly again, and I still have it. But disrespectful,
that's got to be
Frankie.
on display, man. I've seen guys... Some guys get really carried away with that towel. They've used it as like their golf towel. I have seen that before, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I'm like, you just hit a chunked up 60-degree wedge. You took a divot the size of a veal, and now you're gonna wipe that with. You're gonna wipe your wedge with the Hockey Night
outrageous.
towel. Are you out of? You're out of your mind.
No, but you're right, man. I would look at that like the rules of like touching the Stanley Cup if you've never won one.
Yes.
You can't touch a Hockey Night Canada towel if you never played. Like if it wasn't given to you by like the producer, it's Scott Oakes standing beside you or whatever.
Yes.
Like you can't do it. I'm sorry. Like those are sacred threads. And
Struddy, were you in the league when they implemented the 3-hour rule at training camp?
Yes. So my first training camp, practice, game, practice. We were there all day. I came out of there. I was so tired. I'm like, I'm not in shape. I remember calling the guy who kind of works me out in the summer. He's like, how's it going? I said, I'm out of shape. I can't. He's like, well, what are you doing? Like, we're having a practice, a game, and a practice. When they put that 3-hour rule in, it was nothing. It was such a joke. And now it's shrunk down more. And I get it. Guys are in shape, and I think they're moving in the right direction. This isn't like, look what we used to do. But just to give you a sense, it was so hard. You were so tired at the end of the day. You just drag yourself back to your room, try to eat something, just pass out. It was incredible how hard it was.
When I heard stories of guys like the old Grizzly guys that when the 3-hour rule came in, they were watching that clock like a hawk from the time 100%. They got there to the time like they were watching on the ice, and they're like, we're getting there. And then you hear stories, right? Like they just get passed around the league. Certain players with a pretty big aura were like, we're out of here. See you later. Practice is over.
I was with the Blackhawks, and Steve Sullivan called the PA because we were out there longer than 3 hours. And the next day, it was timed. It was beautiful. It was actually beautiful because if you can't do it in 3 hours, I mean, come on. Let's get, we're coming in pretty much in shape.
Time.
Yeah, and he just, I remember he said, I called the PA and they're going to get it straightened out next day, 3 hours.
Who do you call at the PA? Like, are you at that point, are you calling Bob Goodnow, I guess it would have been? Are you calling him directly? Saying, hey, Bob, we're 2 minutes over here. Like someone's got to snap the whip.
Rep at the PA, right? Like every team has like your corresponding guy that you go to, and then it goes to the top from there.
And that's why you have the CBA and you have unions, but that's also why you have, seniority and guaranteed contracts, because I guarantee you, if it's not a guaranteed contract, I don't think Steve Sullivan's making that call. Because you're probably worried like the coach is going to snap on you or hate you or say, hey, we're working on special teams. You don't want to be on the power play? All right, no problem. Go make your phone call. Go ahead. You're not on the power play anymore. But when you got this, when you have the CBA and guaranteed contracts, and like you mentioned, Elias Pettersson, what's Vancouver going to do to him if he shows up and goes, actually, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing a fitness test. What are they going to do? Cut him? Send him to the minors? Like the guy's, he's got a full no move. He makes more money than he makes $4 million more than Quinn Hughes. Yeah. And like Pettersson, I don't know. Like that's another thing that if I'm him, I wouldn't really appreciate some of the reporting that's been coming out of Vancouver, where I've heard, we all have, that he's having a great summer in the gym. Like that's embarrassing. You've been in the league for a long time, and people are giving you, again, a standing ovation because you're working out hard in the gym. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't want those type of reports out if I were him.
I'd want the reports after we see what your first 20 games are like.
Yeah, let's see how you
because
play.
If he shows up, if we hear all this, all this praise about how great of a summer Elias Pettersson is having, and he's showing up to the gym and he's doing all his workouts and he's in his best shape ever, and he goes first 10, 20 games and he's not even half a point per game, then where are we at? Because that was the one thing that was supposed to lead you to having success. And if you're not having it, then where do we go from here? Did you lose it? Did the league figure you out? Then you start asking those bigger questions, and it's not just one thing anymore. And then you're right back to the drawing board with him.
He's so talented and he's so smart. He's got such a good shot. And what I saw was he didn't seem to have any quickness to his game. He was getting to places slow and not making plays. So I think some of that was probably, the knee injury and unable to kind of fully train last year. So I'm interested. To me, he's one of the most interesting individual players to watch this first, you got maybe first 20, 40 games of the year, because if he's not going, Canucks are going to be hard-pressed to get going. But, if he can get himself going, they're in a way better spot. But I don't think he was in shape last year. He just looked like he was getting to places slow. And that's not ideal for a skilled player who's kind of slight already. He's not a powerful guy.
Well, exactly. He's got to get there a step faster than the mutant who's chasing him down. Because if he's in battles, like physical battles, he's not going to win them. All right, so speaking of which, I've got a couple of rankings for you guys today that I will hand out. You guys can debate among yourselves. You can take shots at me. You can take shots at the list. We figured after ESPN has been releasing all these top 10s, top 10 quarterbacks, top 10 running backs, top 10 everything based on execs and GMs and scouts, I'd list the 10 best players, best skaters in the NHL today. We'll get to that. In mid-July, we're through the draft. We're through free agency. There hasn't been much going on. I'm going to do a Canadian rankings as well, 1 through 7, as of today. Now, again, this is subject to change 2-3 months from now once we get started. But we'll get to that a little bit later this afternoon. Lawrence Applebaum, our friend, CEO of Golf Canada, he's over there at Royal Portrush. Weather has been crazy, and the rounds are taking forever. Those guys, they're out of the courses for 6-7 hours. Where's the union for these golfers, man? They'd be calling it in a turn, saying, get me off the course. It's been way more than 3 hours. So we'll get you a live update on the Canadians, on how McIlroy's looking, Scheffler's looking, and day one of the Open Championship. So we'll get to that a little bit later in the hour. Frankie's in here, Struddy's in here. I'm Bryan Hayes. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.